Why use Chromebooks and Chromeboxes at school when you can just use an iPad? Let's jump into this. Just a little disclaimer, it might seem so in this video, but I'm not meaning to trash MacBooks, Windows laptops, or anything like that. Or Chromebooks, even though I hate them for reasons that I'll talk about in another video. But I'm just talking about the negatives of them in a school environment and how the iPad's a better option. So honestly, I love MacBooks, I love Windows laptops. It's just not the purpose of this video, and I'm pointing out a couple of flaws they might have in the school environment. So yeah, I'm not trashing them, I'm just talking about how they have some negatives. So for school, your options are one of a few things. So you can get a Chromebook, like the schools offer, and some schools even give you a Chromebook for like 20 bucks a year, and at the end of it you pay like 20 bucks and you can keep the thing. I mean, you could also get a Windows laptop, like this. I mean, you could get a MacBook. But they're all expensive. I mean, yeah, a Chromebook is relatively cheap. You can get a decent one for $175, but it doesn't have specs enough to run basically anything, whatever you want. Chromebooks, their main problem is that your school can lock them down. Because, say you have to take a test, okay, yes, it's positive to lock your Chromebook down when you're taking a test, because that way they know you don't cheat. But you can't install anything, even at home on your own Wi-Fi. You can't log in and install certain applications because your school has just blocked them. I mean, I know, like, sometimes I can't even install Flash on a Chromebook, which is something that should be able to be installed, especially if you're going to look at anything. Not to mention the fact that, regardless of what you're doing, some websites will always remain blocked, even if you're not on your own Wi-Fi. If you're on the school Wi-Fi, if you're at home, doesn't matter. They're still going to block certain websites, and not even negative websites. Like, sometimes I need to go online at school, so I'll go onto, like, a blog website when I'm looking up how to fix my MacBook, and it won't let me because it says it's against the firewall, and it does the same thing at home. Your next option, a Windows laptop. Okay, yeah, they're a little more expensive. A base good one will be like $400. In fact, that's actually how much I bought a spare for. And they've got decent specs, and you can do whatever you want. And they're not locked down to the school, which is good. But they're Windows laptops. You can't get the same kind of features you could on a Chromebook. So, like, sometimes if you need to install a thing in Chrome, yeah, you can do it, but it's not going to be installed on any Chromebook that you sign into. And Windows laptops are a really good option, but not all of them have a touchscreen. I know not all Chromebooks have a touchscreen either. But to get something really decent that you can actually do other stuff on, you have to pay more to get some extra performance. Like my laptop here. This cost me $700 brand new. Yeah, that was 3 years ago. They sell one now with an AMD Ryzen instead of an Intel Core i5. That's, I think, $500 or $600, something like that. Your next option, a MacBook. These are really solid because you can sign in, you can save everything on iCloud Drive, you can do whatever you want. But again, they also have all these computers, all these laptops. There's the keyword, laptop. They have a keyboard. Sometimes it's just not necessary to have a keyboard. And I mean, yeah, it's great to have there when you need to type documents, but when you're just trying to, like, you know, go and play some pre-installed apps when you don't really need it, it's not really worth having. Whereas, on the flip side, this is why some Windows laptops are 2-in-1s. You know, they'll fold over and the keyboard's gone. But those are really expensive. Or if you get a really cheap one, they don't have really good specs. So they can't do a lot at once. This is where iPad comes in. So this actually is a 6th generation iPad. I picked it up at Walmart at the beginning of this year for $329. And yes, it's a really good iPad. Yes, there is a newer version of the iPad, and I 100% recommend it. It's got a bigger screen. It's actually the same starting price, $329, which is really good value for an iPad. And I'm going to show you why they're the best thing for school. Starting off, there's security. A lot of computers at school, you have to type in your password every time you want to access it. With an iPad, all you have to do is click. This actually brings me to another good point, being able to write on documents. So say you have notes for a class. Like for me right now, this is calculus. So if I want to, I can just use my Apple Pencil, which if you're going to have an iPad for school, you want to pick one of these up. They're really, really useful. So like if I need to solve a certain problem, I can just write the answer right here, you know, if I need to. Really good. And then when you save it, You can click done. On sometimes you lose your work if you don't save it. On iPad, it saves automatically. So you can see I wrote on this on January 28th, and it's still here. Another thing you can use iPad for that you can't on a lot of other things is if you go into notes, say I need to start a new note. I need to type homework. Okay, so I do that, but then I need to actually write what my homework is. I can do both. I can just write, say I want to write math. I can write math there, and then underneath it, I can just type more stuff. So I can just type to do tonight. Okay, really good. That's the on-screen keyboard. Well, some people might have a problem using an on-screen keyboard. It's not great if you need to, like, type up a document or something like that. So that is where this comes in. This is a case that I spent $25 on Amazon. Your iPad goes in it, and it's got a keyboard. And this keyboard, when you don't need it, it folds away. So it's basically gone. So it's like having a 2-in-1 notebook. It's really cool. So you just put your iPad in here, and then when you need it, all you have to do is put the kickstand down in the back, and now you have a laptop. Really cool, huh? Now, with an iPad, yes, there are a couple of drawbacks. For example, the battery might not last you as long as a laptop, which, actually, it might, because with me, I charge this iPad a couple, maybe 3 or 4 times a week, and that's because I use it at night. Like, I will go on, I'll play games, I'll check social media, I'll do that kind of stuff at night when my phone's charging beside me, because, I don't want to use it while it's charging. So I'll use my iPad, and I'll wake up in the morning and it'll still have 80%. Like, I haven't charged this thing in 3 days, and it's still at 62%, and I've been doing all my schoolwork on it. Really positive. With the Apple Pencil, it makes it even better, because you can do gestures, you can write stuff, you can do whatever. And the battery on this thing, it'll last you 2 weeks. And when you need to charge it, it's got a lightning tip, so you can either plug it straight into the iPad, you can plug it into your iPhone if you have one, or you can plug it into the charger it comes with. Another real positive thing. For me, what I carry to school with me every day, what I use in classes, I use my iPhone with my AirPods, like what teenager these days doesn't have a pair of AirPods. I have my iPad so I can write on my notes, I can do my notes, I can take the notes, I can whatever. But then, say I need to clear space on the iPad because this iPad doesn't have the max storage, it has the minimum 32 gigs. Say I need to clear some room, this is where my MacBook comes in. Because, yes, this thing has 128 gigs of storage, and I did mention this thing in my setup tour, which I'll leave a link up here for you guys to check out, and I'll also leave one in the description. I talked about this thing, and I talked about how impressed I was, and I talked about how I'd be doing a separate video, which I'm working on. But I can airdrop everything to this, either from my phone, from my iPad, I can do the reverse. I can drop stuff from here to there. So say I can't get Classroom to load on my iPad for some reason, I can just open it on here, airdrop the file, and I'm all set. Which brings me actually back to the iPad, because you can install applications. They're not locked down to your school account like they are at my school. At my school, you can't sign out of the iPads, you can't sign out of anything. But with this, for example, for me, you can see at the top there, I'm signed in to my own email. It says my name. I'm signed in. I can download whatever I want. So, for example, if I'm on here, and I need to have my notes open, say there's something on here I don't understand, and I need to download an app for it, I can download Desmos, because it's a good graphing calculator app. And I can solve the problem, and then I can go right back. This actually is another real good point with iPad, because it's a lot easier to multitask. So say I need to take notes for physics, okay? So say the textbook's online, so I'm just going to look for physics stuff right here. I can multitask. All I have to do is swipe up and drag the notes application over to the side, and now I have a split screen, and I can take my notes right here, and it's right there, and it's done. So, in a nutshell, yeah. Windows laptops, MacBooks, they're great for school. But if you want the best device that you can do anything on, where it's not locked down, where you can do apps, you can do like social media, as well as get all your schoolwork done and have a place to store it, the iPad, beyond anything, is the best option. And especially when paired with an Apple Pencil. This is the first generation, by the way, because it's got the tip, and because it's not an iPad Pro. And paired with a $25 Amazon case with a keyboard, this is a really good setup for school. Altogether, this setup would have cost me $329 for the iPad, $90 for the Apple Pencil, and $25 for this. So under $500. Or you could spend $500 on a laptop like this, where It's not a touch screen. Screen's not removable. Keyboard's not removable, I mean. Small trackpad. Doesn't have a lot of features. Doesn't have a lot of accessibility. That's why iPad's a lot better. Because iPad, if you're looking for a device to get for school, or for work, or for whatever, don't buy a Chromebook. They're really good if you need a really cheap laptop, and all you need to do is search Google. And you don't need to be writing stuff all the time. You don't need to be typing stuff all the time, because the keyboards on a lot of them suck, to be honest. But if you need to do any of that, buy an iPad. Buy an Apple Pencil. Buy this $25 case from Amazon, which I will link in the description. You will not regret it, and it will actually be one of the better decisions you've made about your setup for work or for school. So in the description below, I will link this Apple Pencil, I will link the $25 Amazon case, and I will link iPad on Apple's website. Because you can't buy this one anymore, you can buy the 7th generation, which has the bigger screen like I was talking about. Same price, doesn't really matter. So on that note, thank you guys so much for watching. Click up here to subscribe. Click up here to watch my last video, which was my desktop tour video. And drop a like on this video. And leave a comment down below if you have a suggestion for what I should do next time. Peace.